Wow, Billy Joe Saunders repeatedly insults a Mexican reporter live on a Spanish station for the Canelo Saunders fight coverage. During the interview, he repeatedly said to the Mexican reporter, "Your breath smell like ish." We're gonna talk about all that and more in this video.
This is the most important fight in your career. Is that before and after your career with Canelo Alvarez?
Yes, most definitely. Breath's like shit, and it's nice. It's good. I'm very looking forward to it. It's a very, very good fight. He's a great champion. I've got a lot of respect for him.
What about the ring? He's 20 feet, 22, 24. What happened with that?
Breath like shit. It was like what it was always agreed. You know, it was what was agreed, and you know.
Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Before I get into it, make sure you click the link in the description to get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is an awesome browser extension to help you on YouTube, help you level up your YouTube content. I started off with 0 subscribers. I've scaled my channel up to over 200,000. TUBEBUDDY is definitely a great resource and tool that I use daily for videos like this, and it can help you as well. Doesn't matter if you have a cooking channel, sports channel, video games, whatever you're into, TUBEBUDDY can help. And bottom line is, why are you on YouTube if you don't want to make money as a content creator? If you upload videos, the goal is to get your video seen, and this is an awesome way to do that, to get your video in front of more eyes. Again, I personally know, so I can attest to it. I've been using it for years and continue to use it. So consider TUBEBUDDY. Click the link in the description. Let's go. Now, you guys seen the clip at the beginning. It is fight week. Canelo Saunders, May 8th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, and they are fighting in Texas. This is going to be a rematch room presentation on DAZN, and it's been decently tense. Billy Joe has had a lot to say. He's kind of kicked things off, missed the first day of media obligations. He was at his hotel or whatever. There was a dispute with the ring size. Then that had been resolved by Eddie Hearn and Team Canelo basically granting Billy Joe as to not ruin the whole event. You know, they kind of gave him, or met in the middle, gave him what he wanted. Billy Joe Saunders seen the ring, and he deemed that the ring was too small, and basically it was a setup for Canelo, so Canelo didn't have to chase Billy Joe Saunders, and to make it easier in a smaller ring against a guy who would likely move. So Canelo, you know, he doesn't want, there's a lot of money on the line. This is the guy people bought tickets to see Canelo fight. So basically Eddie Hearn and Canelo Alvarez just agreed to give him what he wants. Canelo's comfortable and believes he can beat him even in a bigger ring or whatever. So that issue was resolved. Now, in that clip you seen in the beginning, Billy Joe Saunders was interviewing with a Hispanic Mexican reporter from ESPN, their sports side, ESPN Deportes or Knockout or whatever it was. And Billy Joe Saunders, as the guy is asking him professional, regular questions, Billy Joe Saunders keeps slipping in, "Your breath smells like ish. Your breath smells like ish." And he's just subtly saying it, and the guy, the reporter, is not catching on. And then there's somebody, like probably a British person, who's filming him, and maybe was even instructed to film him, like, "Hey, watch this." And then the video leaks online, and it's Billy Joe Saunders doing that to that reporter. Now, for me, I just think the whole situation is tasteless, and I also believe it's targeted. Like, how come Billy Joe Saunders didn't choose to do that to a UK reporter? He did it to a Mexican reporter. So his opponent this weekend is Mexican, Canelo Alvarez. I was born ready. He's from Guadalajara, Mexico, and there's bad blood or whatever trash talk, and it's fight week. I get that. So if you want to talk ish to Canelo directly, or even Eddie Reynoso or his entourage, okay, maybe that's all fair game. But to do that to some random person that's just covering the fight seems very, very odd. You know, why would you disrespect a boxing reporter out of all boxing reporters? Like I said, this didn't happen to a British UK. Some people from the UK flew out and are there for fight week covering the fight as well. So you choose to do this prank or whatever you want to call it and insult a live Mexican station that's airing and continue to act like a delinquent and like a juvenile. It's weird behavior from Billy Joe Saunders. Now, in my opinion, I think Billy Joe Saunders and Tyson Fury are very similar. They're friends. They're both gypsies, and they do little things like, if you notice, when Tyson Fury was fighting Wilder, he kept calling him boy, like, oh, I'm gonna spank you, I'm gonna whoop you, boy. And we seen it with Billy Joe Saunders. He kept calling Canelo boy. And you also seen it with Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, he was calling Jose Ramirez boy, like, I'm gonna whip you, boy. And all of these innuendos and things, boy and stuff like that, it doesn't really sound good, you know. And it makes me wonder what kind of upbringing you have and what your beliefs are, because it just seems inappropriate. Like I said, if you want to get at Canelo Alvarez, your opponent, you're trying to get under his skin and you're trying to taunt him, fine, whatever. It's trash talk. It happens. Casualties of war, I guess. But to do this to a random Mexican reporter who's being professional and has asked for your time, and you're like, oh, your breath stinks. Your breath stinks. Ha 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 ha. Your breath smells like ish. I just think it's childish. And some people are going to defend this behavior and say, oh, you just don't get it. It's British humor. We're not in Great Britain. We're not in the UK. So why would I have to get anything? Billy Joe Saunders, just look at his behavior. He's acting like he's a preteen. The first day, Canelo was doing the face-off with his trainer because he was a no-show. And then he's posting pictures and videos or whatever in his hotel room. Clearly didn't show up, right? You have him and he's taunting Canelo and trying to get under Canelo's skin, saying whatever, saying, hey, you like the juicy beef, you like Mexican beef, boy, you like the beef, boy, and stuff like that. And it's very hypocritical. Canelo did fail a drug test in 2018 with clenbuterol in his system, but Billy Joe Saunders the very next year was supposed to have his own high-profile fight with Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade the very next year in 2019, and he failed a drug test. And there was a PEDS expert that did a video, and it was with Ring TV, and he said what Billy Joe Saunders was on was way more beneficial and potent as a performance-enhancing drug and PED than the clenbuterol stuff. So it's just weird. It's like the pot calling the kettle black, that two people who failed a drug test and one person is using this as ammunition to try to taunt the other person and get under his skin. It just makes me wonder if Billy Joe Saunders has any class, because it's like you guys both failed drug tests. Canelo's not bringing it up. He's gotten past it, you know, unless, you know, I guess a reporter or somebody asked him about it. And you're bringing it up like you have this clean bill of health. So it's almost like a narcissist or, you know, a serial killer psychology, where a serial killer will kill 5 prostitutes and say they deserve to die because of their job, you know what I mean? Because of what they did, because they're women of the streets, you know what I mean? And in their mind, the justification makes sense. And that's what it's starting to look like with twin gypsies, Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders. It's starting to appear like they live by their own rules and they don't care how immature. Like Billy Joe Saunders has had several situations where he's had to pay fines. He's had misconduct. He's had his license pulled. He's had to apologize, things like that. And then he continues to do this. And it's weird behavior for somebody who's 30 plus to be acting like this. You know, the biggest fight of your life, Canelo gave you the opportunity. And this is the disrespectful part for boxing, is because Canelo's a popular guy, whatever, and he gave you this opportunity. You're not showing up for press conferences. You're complaining for the last 4 to 6 weeks. You've been complaining. You're complaining the ring size isn't big enough. Then there's a Mexican reporter and you're taunting him, and he don't even have nothing to do with Canelo outside of the fact that they both represent Mexico, I guess. So it's just weird behavior from Billy Joe Saunders. And when I've made the videos, part of this is Canelo's fault. Not he can't control what Billy Joe Saunders does, but in my opinion, Canelo is bigger than the belts per se, and there is just more deserving people who, in my heart of all hearts, I do believe they wouldn't be acting like this. Like if you had a fight with Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo, David Benavidez, I think those could be very good, intense buildups, and there could be some trash talking and things like that. But what I don't believe they would be acting pompous and unprofessional and insulting random Mexican channels while they're live on TV like Billy Joe Saunders is doing it. So it's just, this shows you the flaws in boxing, where a person like Billy Joe Saunders can fail a drug test, complain over the ring, create havoc, show up in a robe, be disrespectful to the media for asking them questions, play little juvenile delinquent games like he's 15 years old, and he's the one that's getting blessed with whatever purse they arrange for this particular fight. You know, it's a bit sad because there's a lot of top quality guys that they would do anything for the bigger purses and the big opportunities to fight the Canelos of their division, you know, or the it person in their division. And then they have to go through the rankings or traditional way, or their brand isn't big enough. And then you have Billy Joe Saunders, he's doing all this, and in my opinion, he's going to lose to Canelo Alvarez. So that's another thing. Billy Joe Saunders is going to be in a world of hurt if he does not win this particular fight, because he's wreaked havoc, he's talked a lot of trash, he's created rifts and threatened to pull out of the fight over the ring size and things like that. He's insulting media now, all these things. And Tyson Fury, his buddy, has flown in, and Tyson Fury saying his piece, saying Canelo's nothing special, he's not a killer. So there's a lot of pressure on Billy Joe Saunders to perform. If he does not perform, and if he loses, even though it'll only be his first loss in the 30, I think he has about 30 fights, and it'll be his first loss, he'll lose his title. But more importantly, he'll lose respect, because you can't, there's no way you could talk this much trash and not back it up. It's just, boxing fans are going to take kindly to that. But I thought this was very insulting and unprofessional. 2 days in a row of unprofessional behavior from Billy Joe Saunders. The last thing I have to mention is the comparison. The double standards in boxing is insane. And this is the exact reason why new media was created, to tackle the tough subjects that other people aren't willing to cover in the sport of boxing, like the double standards, the injustices, the give you a different perspective that a lot of old media, they're not going to give you. So I leave you guys with this. Billy Joe Saunders chooses a Mexican reporter and is just being rude and being a jerk to him for no reason. Some people are going to look at that and laugh at it and say, ha, ha, ha. But just know that some of those same people that are laughing and they think it's funny are also the same ones that condemn black fighters for, quote unquote, immature, unprofessional behavior. Like if Floyd Mayweather does this and that, they say, oh, I hate Floyd because he's a trash talker, but they love Conor McGregor's trash talk. If Adrian Broner is at a press conference and he says boom, 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 and he acts like a jerk or cusses somebody out or whatever Broner has done in his career, you see Adrian Broner, he has this long bandwagon of people who say they don't like him but continue to watch all of his moves and show very little support. So it's just funny when you have the complexion for the protection like Billy Joe Saunders, apparently, how you can act like a jerk and say whatever you want and people act like it's okay. You know, he's complaining about the ring size being too small, but his buddy just said, I'm going to give you the brass knuckles that I used on Wilder last week. A couple of days ago, he just said this. It's in writing on his verified account. He said this. So joking about, or I'm assuming he's joking or a guilty conscience about a situation where people think that Tyson Fury himself cheated in the last fight he had with Deontay Wilder. I mean, we got to get this element as far away from the mainstream of boxing as possible. So me personally, I hope Canelo handles business on Saturday. I don't see how this behavior is supported. This is not championship level behavior. Trash talking is fine if you want to trash talk the Reynosos or Canelo. Those are the team, that's the team, professional team you're going to fight. But to go after some random Mexican reporter just doing his job, I think that's classless. And again, it's not championship behavior that I prefer to see. So I hope Canelo does his thing. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Use the link in the description to get ESPN Plus and TUBEBUDDY. Those are two of the many sponsors that we have on the channel and partnership deals. Let me know how I did in this video. We'll see you on Saturday. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Until next video, is Ego signing off. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working.